Hello and welcome to my Needs Assessment Model Analysis by EduCore Dynamics. In this presentation, I'll apply Gilbert's Behavioral Engineering Model, commonly known as BEM, to analyze a company's performance challenges. I selected BEM because EduCore's problems appear to involve both the working environment and individual employee capabilities. I'll introduce the model, apply its 6 components to the case, compare it with Halley's front-end analysis, and recommend a combination of training and non-training interventions. EduCore Dynamics wants to deliver high-quality digital learning products on time while maintaining effective communication and coordination across its teams. However, the case shows a substantial difference between this desired performance and the company's current results. Over the past 6 months, 62% of the projects missed their target deadlines by an average of about 10 business days. 2 of the company's largest clients requested additional revisions because of problems with clarity, visual consistency, and brand requirements. Employee feedback also indicates internal challenges. 41% of creative staff reported feeling disconnected from project goals, while 38% described communication between departments as unclear or frustrating. TaskSync, the company's new project management platform, was introduced to improve workflow visibility. Instead, employees report overlapping dynamics, redundant data entry, inconsistent tagging, and spending too much time managing the system. These findings confirm that a performance gap exists. However, they do not prove that training alone is the solution. Gilbert Behavioral Engineering Model diagnoses performance by examining 2 main categories: environmental support and individual capabilities. Environmental support includes information, resources, and incentives. Information refers to clear expectations, goals, instructions, and feedback. Resources include tools, time, technology, staffing, and support needed to perform. Incentives include recognition, consequences, accountability, and alignment between performance and organizational goals. Individual capabilities include knowledge, capacity, and motivation. Knowledge focuses on whether employees possess the required skills and procedures. Capacity considers whether employees are physically and intellectually able to perform under the existing conditions. Motivation examines whether employees are willing and committed to achieving the expected results. The central principle at BEM is that an organization should not assume poor performance is caused by employees. Instead, it should first determine whether the work environment makes successful performance possible. Why BEM fits EduCore? BEM is appropriate for EduCore because the case presents several interacting problems rather than one isolated issue. The company is dealing with missed deadlines, inconsistent quality, low morale, communication challenges, and software inefficiencies at the same time. Some of these concerns may involve employee knowledge, but others clearly involve environmental barriers. For example, employees may require support in using TaskSync. However, training cannot eliminate overlapping templates or redundant data fields. Similarly, communication training may be helpful, but it will not resolve unclear responsibilities or poorly designed handoff procedures. BEM therefore gives EduCore a balanced way to examine both sides of the performance problem. It can determine whether the organization is providing adequate information, resources, and incentives, and whether employees possess the required knowledge, capacity, and motivation. The environmental side of BEM appears particularly important in this case. Under information, employees report unclear communication and disconnection between project goals. Roles and responsibilities may also be unclear, especially where work moves between designers, video producers, editors, and other departments. The additional revisions requested by clients suggests that brand expectations and quality standards may not be communicated consistently. Under resources, task sync presents a major barrier. Overlapping templates, duplicate data entry, and consistent tags make the performance a platform rather inefficient. Employees report spending more time managing the software than managing the project. This suggests that the tool may be reducing productivity rather than supporting it. Under incentives, low morale and disconnection from goals may indicate weak feedback and recognition systems. Employees may not clearly understand how their work contributes to project outcomes or who is accountable when deadlines and quality requirements are missed. These findings therefore suggest that capable employees may be prevented from performing well by their environment. The individual capability of BEM also identifies possible areas of intervention. Under knowledge, employees may need to understand how to use approved task sync templates, apply consistent tagging standards, follow project handoff procedures, and meet quality and brand requirements. Under capacity, employees may not have enough time to complete their main responsibilities because of unnecessary administrative work. Repeated data entry and confusing processes can increase cognition load and therefore reduce the amount of time available for creative production. Workload distribution and competing priorities may also affect employees' ability to meet deadlines. Under motivation, the survey results show that low morale and disconnection from project goals. However, BEM encourages caution when interpreting motivation. Employees may appear unmotivated because they are frustrated by unclear expectations, ineffective systems, and excessive workloads. Therefore, motivation and capacity problems may be symptoms of environmental barriers rather than weaknesses within individual employees. The EduCore case appears to involve a combination of training, non-training, and organizational needs. Possible training needs include role-based task sync instructions, consistent tagging practices, project planning skills, communication protocols, and quality or brand compliance standards. For possible non-training needs include simplifying task sync templates, removing redundant data entry requirements, establishing consistent tagging rules, and clarifying project hands-off and responsibilities. And at the organizational level, EduCore may need to improve change management, cross-department communication, workload distribution, workflow governance, and performance workload feedback. The most appropriate response is therefore a blended solution. However, training should only be provided where an actual knowledge or skill gap has been identified. Environmental barriers should be addressed through process, technology, communication, or management improvements. BEM compared to HALES. HALES front-end analysis is another suitable model for this case. It provides a strong overall process for comparing current and desired performance, investigating root causes, determining whether training is needed, and assessing the visibility of possible interventions. However, I selected BEM as a primary model because it gives a more detailed structure for organizing EduCore's specific performance barriers. The case already provides evidence related to information, resources, incentives, knowledge, capacity, and motivation. BEM makes it possible to place each concern into one of these categories and examine how environmental and individual factors interact. HALES will still be useful as a complementary model, particularly when deciding which interventions are realistic and visible. However, BEM offers a stronger diagnostic lens for analyzing the mixed technology, communication, morale, workload, and skills that are used, skill issues described in this case. Strengths and limitations. One important strength of BEM is that it prevents EduCore from blaming employees prematurely. It ensures that the organization evaluates the environment before concluding that employees lack ability or motivation. The model also makes both training and non-training courses visible. This is especially useful in cases involving people, technology, processes, and organizational culture. However, BEM also has limitations. It is primarily a diagnostic framework and does not provide a complete step-by-step process for conducting the entire needs assessment. Its categories may also overlap. For example, task sync problems may affect resources, capacity, and motivation at the same time. Capacity and motivation can also be difficult to measure without further data collection. Therefore, I will use BEM to organize the root causes and then apply visible assessment before recommending or implementing interventions. Under recommendations, my recommendations are aligned with the 6 BEM categories. For information, EduCore should standardize project briefs, create clear role maps, educate hands-on procedures, and establish regular progress reviews. For resources, the company should redesign task sync templates, remove duplicate fields, establish one tagging system, and assign someone to manage platform standards. For incentives, EduCore should clarify accountability, provide regular feedback, recognize high quality and timely performance, and show employees how their work contributes to client and organizational outcomes. For knowledge, the company should provide targeted role-based training on task sync, workflow procedures, and quality standards. However, this training should only occur after the platform and workflows have been improved. Under capacity, leadership should also review staffing, workloads, project timelines, competing priorities, and of course, the administrative burden created by task sync. For motivation, managers should reconnect employees with project goals, client impact, and opportunities to contribute feedback about the system. The sequence is important to EduCore because the sequence is important. Therefore, EduCore should not train employees to use a confusing or inefficient process. EduCore should evaluate the recommendations using performance outcomes rather than training attendance alone. The key measures should include the percentage of projects completed on time, the average number of days projects are late, the number of client requested revisions, and the frequency of brand or quality errors. The company should also track task sync tagging errors, template errors, duplicate entry time, communication clarity, employee workload, morale, and connection to project goals. Baseline data should be recorded before the interventions are introduced. The same indicators should then be measured after implementation. If performance does not improve, EduCore should return to BEM categories and determine whether some environmental or individual barriers remain unresolved. In conclusion, Gilbert Behavioral Engineering Model is a strong fit for EduCore's dynamics because the company's performance challenges involve both environmental support and individual capabilities. The model shows that employees should not be blamed before the organization evaluates its information systems, resources, incentives, workflows, and of course management practices. It also demonstrates that training should not be introduced before technology and process barriers are addressed. The evidence supports a blended intervention involving task sync, redesign, workflow clarification, stronger communication, improved feedback, workload review, and targeted role-based training. I therefore recommend that EduCore should use BEM as a primary diagnostic model and then assess the feasibility of each proposed intervention before implementation. Thank you.